Daymond T, is this you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What's up, man? I have to warn you, we're live right off the bat. It's welcome to ChaMoney Live. We truly appreciate you being here, and you are amazing. Thanks for
Happy to be here. Happy to be here.
thanks for hanging out. Say what's up. We got a live super chat. Say everyone hi in the super chat, and everyone in the super chat.
Hello, guys.
Feel free to ask a question, and I'll do my best to get to it before we get off the line with Daymond and Herman the Great. What's up, ChaMoney? Good to see you. Thank you for the diamond, Herman the Great. We really appreciate you tuning in. So we're here with Daymond T on the phone, self-made millionaire entrepreneur, and I'm going to put my name on it, Daymond. Future president candidate, 2045, 2050, maybe. We'll see. We'll get into that later. But where can people find you? Is it okay if I pull up your Instagram here?
Sure, yeah, you can give my Instagram. I'm not a big social media person, but yeah, you could definitely give my Instagram.
Okay, cool.
And that intro is way overdone. I love it. You just make a business out of just give an intro.
I love it, brother. I love it. Thanks for being here, man. I really appreciate your time for real, Daymond. I really appreciate it. So let's get right into it. I got a little couple questions I want to ask you here. So let's start with a lot of people I know here in the super chats may be thinking about either starting a business or maybe even starting their own channel per se. We can say their own channel for someone who hasn't began yet but is thinking about taking that next step. What is some advice you can give them, to maybe take that leap?
Well, I think for a young entrepreneur, someone who's starting out, I think it's hard because there's so much stuff like misleading. So many people that either try to hype you up or sell you coaching or just kind of steer you the wrong way. I really think being an entrepreneur is about, it's the crossroads where you find what you love, something that you're passionate about, and it's the crossroads where something you're also good at. And I'll try to explain that for you. If I'm passionate about, let's say playing a video game, which we all probably love playing video games, or playing basketball, whatever it is, you could do it for hours. Like literally, when I played football, I ran routes all day, sprinting full speed all day. I mean, I can go 6 hours straight, and I never stopped running. Well, that's because I loved it. Now, if you ask me, hey, let's go running. Let's just run. Let's just run. I mean, I might make it a block, maybe 2 blocks, but I just don't have the passion to keep running like that because I don't love running. What I loved was football, which would make me push myself to a level that I couldn't even say. So I can't motivate someone. I can't say, hey, if you want to be successful, you got to wake up at 6 in the morning and you got to go to bed, at midnight and never stop working, because I can't push them. No motivation can push them. They have to push themselves because they're passionate. And then the other thing where the crossroads meets, what I was trying to explain is, let's just say you're super passionate about basketball, but you're only 5'2". I mean, you're probably not going to make it to the NBA. So you kind of have to have, you have to have passion. You have to love it, yes. But the people who say do what you love, well, you can do what you love and never make it. And then some people who say, well, do what you're good at. You can do what you're good at. You could be like the best lawyer in the world, but if you only want to work an hour a day, you'll never be successful. So you kind of have to find within yourself what you're passionate with and what you also have an aptitude for.
The crossroads,
and I think for me,
right?
the crossroads, the point where that meets. So I think with me, I had a great passion for, say, money, and I loved Wall Street. I got my Series 7. I was super ambitious, and I went out there and I worked really, really hard, and I excelled. I was doing better than most. But, really, when it really came down to it, I don't think I truly loved waking up in the morning early for the commute. I definitely didn't love the commute. I mean, and then I didn't really love that I had to be trapped there 5 days a week. So, even though I did do something I loved, it wasn't enough to fuel me to make a lifetime out of it. And that's why after a few years, even though I was at the top of my game, I made a decision to quit, leave, and go into something I had nothing in. Because I left it, which people thought I was crazy. But that's what an entrepreneur is. An entrepreneur is a little crazy because he chose to do what he loves more, what he felt he could put those hours in. And then also when I went into, promoting events, pretty much marketing, I had an aptitude for it. I was a people person already. So it was like, hey, I'm doing something that I have a little skill in from God, pretty much from birth. And then, also something that, I love. So, hey, that's when it took off for me. When I realized that I could put all my heart and soul into something that I thought I loved, but I had to make the decision to switch careers. And that's what I think for every entrepreneur. They're in a career right now, and if they're even entertained by this conversation, they're probably not in the right career. That's why they're listening now.
Don't scare none of my viewers away. Relax. But okay, let's switch it up a little bit. With the most recent events that has folded out upon us, the virus, the riots, are they going on in New York, right? The rumor, and I would expect even more so now, that 40% of small businesses are not coming back. Do you think that this is a bad time for young entrepreneurs to start business, or what are some advice you can give them?
I think this is probably the best time in the last 100 years. This might be the best time ever. And I'm going to base that on the personal life experience. When I first started to have success, doing events, the technology I used was the beeper. I went to every beeper store. I was a young guy, and I said, hey, I'll give you $100.
Wait, explain to people who don't know what the beeper is. People don't know what
the beeper. The beeper is back in the 90s. Back in the 90s, before cell phones, before technology, a person used to leave his house and have no communication till he came home. And if he's lucky, his mom had a pad next to a phone with a wire to the wall that said these 3 people called, and it would be like Joey and his phone number. you would call him back at night.
I would go to a payphone, call you, like give you a code, put in some crazy code. It was the best, dude. A beeper, and then a buzz. It was so ridiculous.
The beeper was cutting edge. It was the most cutting edge technology, because you could carry a device like a small brick on your hip, and you could get a beep, and it would just show a number. It wouldn't say no text, just a number. And you would run to a payphone with passion. Throw a quarter in.
With passion.
Throw a quarter in.
With passion.
And just to see who that number is. I mean, listen, just like today, people today, they won't leave their house without the cell phone. Like, you ever drive 2 blocks and all of a sudden you pat yourself, wait, where's my cell phone? You don't have your cell phone. So you go home, but you're only going to go to the store to buy a bagel, but yet you went home because you couldn't be away from your cell phone for a block. It's crazy. That's how the beeper was. The beeper. When you left the house, you made sure you had a nice roll of quarters in one pocket, and you made sure you had your beeper on your hip. And if you weren't popular, if you were an uncool person, you went out with 75 cents.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. And then for those of you who don't know what the beeper life was like, that was completely what it was about. Okay. But back to in short, the way I had initially started my business at that point, that particular marketing strategy was I was literally just getting batches of beeper numbers, like thousands of them, and I was manually sitting there and I was beeping the beeper numbers to a voicemail, which was me, and it was pretty much say like, hey, come to this club, and you're gonna get it for free if you show your beeper. And then I was sitting at the door of the club, saying like, oh, you have a beeper? Oh, come right in. And then say your girl, yeah, she's gonna pay $10. Because what it really was that it made traffic. Well, it was a gold mine. I had 14 places going on at once. I was just growing. I was expanding rapidly. The problem with that is the beeper became obsolete. This new thing came out, like the cell phone. And, why would I carry a beeper and a cell phone? I mean, people did for about a year, but eventually everybody had a cell phone and nobody had a beeper. So since there was no more beepers, my business I was done. I was like Blockbuster. I was just over. You know what I mean? It was, and that's like today, like, yeah, you're right. 40% of businesses are going to go under. Yeah. How are you correlating that to today? Yeah.
Well, that's how it is. That's how it is. So everybody who's in business today, who's down and out, well, that was me. I was down and out. And, I thought like my run was over. The world's coming to an end. But really it wasn't, because right behind the beeper was this thing called AOL. AOL was like,
Yes.
AOL was like, what is this? Like, you got to have a computer. Like, most people didn't have computers, but people would get a computer just to have AOL so they could go home and be in these like social chats. And it's not like you saw a picture. It's not like, oh, I want to go in that chat because there's 4 beautiful girls. You saw like a handle, like XOXO Gina. You don't even know who that is, but you just, because that was the craze of the technology then. So I said, let me try to market in that arena, and next thing you know, boom. The business was on top of the world again.
So we got to find the arena today, then, right?
Right. I like completely reinvented myself in a similar business, but reinvented my marketing, and then soon AOL went out, as we all know, and like next thing you know, there was like MySpace, and it was like MySpace was wild, like,
taking them all through the history of the social media.
When like it was like, so like I was blessed. I caught it really early. I caught it before anyone had it. So what I was able to do was I was able to tell people, like you thought I worked for the company. I was telling everybody, got to get on MySpace. This gave me an opportunity to go on your friends and see all your friends. So I could invite you and invite all your friends.
Build a huge network, huh?
Yeah, so like I was building a network before people even thought about it. And then right after MySpace, there was Facebook, but Facebook was only in the colleges.
Yeah.
Now, other promoters started using MySpace. It got so cluttered, and it really got ugly. It got to the point where you couldn't really promote on MySpace anymore. So that kind of dried up, but simultaneously, there was this Facebook thing. But the problem with Facebook was you couldn't have it. You had to have an EDU email. Nobody could have it. So what I had to do was I had to figure out a way to take college classes or to get an EDU just to get it. You could not get Facebook unless you attended college. So that gave me an opportunity to travel the country following Facebook.
Jeez.
So while every other promoter who was using the MySpace was like kind of watching their business die, I was expanding rapidly. And then quick, obviously we all know that Facebook, as soon as it went public, everybody was doing it. They will monetize it, and they won't let you. They're shadow banning everybody. You don't even got a chance to promote anymore. I mean, you can't even think of doing something like that today. So
unless you're promoting
Facebook
the rights.
exists. No. Listen, maybe if you're paying enough ads, but the point is that you can't use that method. So
Datum's saying it right here. Datum's breaking it down in the super chat. It's really like surfing. You got to ride the wave. You got to be ahead of it. Got to be ahead of it.
Right. So so go. That was a great analogy to surfing. So you definitely got that one from me. Well, let me keep going with this. So when Facebook was falling off, Google was really picking up. And there were these things like these little AdWords, like they were like cents. It was like 5 cents, like a penny. Like it was so cheap. Like $5 got you like endless views. Like I jumped on that Google train when it was hot, and it was like wow, like it was crazy. Then from there I was on the website SEO train. So I was always like cutting edge with the marketing, and I would look at the ways I was successful, and I would say that is completely evaporated. So all I see now with obviously what happened with all these businesses being forced to close is it's not like that's it, the world's going to end. No, there's going to be a whole other way.
This is a huge opportunity.
It's a huge opportunity. So for every business that closes, another one opens. Literally, that's like the law of the world. If you believe that, I believe that every time one business is closing, it's not like, oh, that's it, that whole family's going to starve and die. No, those are entrepreneurs. They're going to reinvent. They're going to create new. They're going to better us, move us into the future. So I actually think that this is really sad.
Tragic,
I personally got hurt. I mean, a lot of people got hurt, but how hurt did we get? We all we did was we had to get out of our shell now and reinvent. Let the strongest survive. That's what it's about. Let's go out there, let's make money. So if you're an entrepreneur and you want to jump in now, because if 40% of businesses are closing up, that means 40% are reopening. Why don't you get on the train of the people who are reopening?
Damn, that's some great advice. If you're just tuning in, we have Daymond Triff on the phone joining us, self-made millionaire entrepreneur. I said it before, I'll say it again. future president candidate. And you can tell by the words he's speaking in the party, it's the truth. Now, I got to shift a little bit because I've been promoting it this week. First, to get to know the man, we need to get to know the man who raised the man. You being a young buck, your father being a bodyguard for Trump. Did you learn? What did you learn from him? Any like?
I think when my father was working for him, I don't think I appreciated it. But when I would hear people ask him like, oh, you working for him, maybe he wasn't making a lot of money. He never really made a lot of money to say, but he said the value is, he says, I'm with them every day. I get to learn. And he said, if you could learn the way rich people, think and the things that they do, it would help his own family. So he was really working for him to pick up bits of knowledge to bring home. And like one thing like he brought home, which was very valuable, he said every time the family sits down to eat, which is at least once a day, because we had dinner together every day. He said every time the family sits down to eat, we're going to talk about money. Now, not like, crazy conversations, but one day we'll talk about how credit cards work. And the next day we'll talk about, maybe we'll buy a stock, or the next day we'll talk about retirement accounts. When you're a young guy, when you're 16 years old and you understand in depth the difference between a Roth IRA and a traditional IRA, I mean, that's a value that you go into the world with. When you understand that credit cards pay the rich, but they cripple financially the poor. You have to know that credit card is a tool. That when I get a credit card, they pay me. I go to a bank, I need a credit card. They say, okay, you open up this credit card, we'll pay you $600, and then we'll give you 2%. So I get paid to use credit. But other people, they get credit cards and they don't pay right away, and they get like these fees, and it's just you can't get from out. They're just so preposterous. So the fact that every single time we ate, I think my dad learned from Trump was, hey, every single day we're going to talk about money, and we're going to have knowledge of almost every financial instrument, bonds, like things that most people don't talk about. So when
it's something I
life,
can even I don't mean to interrupt, but it's some advice personally you even gave me, like, and I encourage everyone out there. I have a 9-year-old son. How many 9-year-olds know what a credit score is? Mine does.
Exactly.
And that's real life. Because that's what we're being graded by now. And it's sad, but it's real life, right?
Right. So to go back to what I'm saying is, a lot of things great, came out of my father taking that job, and a lot of knowledge he did learn, and he brought it back to the family. And then, today my brother is successful. He went a completely different route. He's a New York City firefighter, but he's financially intelligent. So he was able to take the average salary and stretch it 3 times what someone else with the same income could do. And that's a lot of the knowledge that my father gave him.
Instead of just and then money,
right? I decided to go the entrepreneur route. So, it gave me leverage over all the other entrepreneurs because I understood the financial. A lot of entrepreneurs, they have a great product. They might have the best product, but they don't understand money. So therefore, all the vultures see that they're making money, and they kind of like cripple their business, or maybe not hurt their business, but they just don't know how to leverage that knowledge to make their business 10 times better. So there's a lot of value to, that just having knowledge of money. And then there's a whole bunch of other things that, my father learned about how, let's just say, the rich people live, or the way they think, or the way they, the way they, view the world. So
yes, just the way they act.
That really, really, really helped me, because I realized that it
maybe
really matters.
Humbled you a little bit?
Yeah, it really helped me a lot, because I realized that what really, really matters is quality of life. And that really helped me a lot. So, I mean, you don't realize it when you're a kid, because, I mean, the kid just kind of like, he goes through life every day. But I think a lot of what my father taught me really, really helped.
Jeez, that's amazing. That's amazing advice to everyone out there. And if you're just tuning in, we're talking to Daymond T, self-made millionaire entrepreneur. Thanks for hanging out in the super chats. Okay, now, before we leave you, I have a couple more questions, and these are the real trick questions. You ready? I'll keep it brief, because I don't want to spoil any future chances of this great man becoming a future president. But I know you've been asked to run for a political position based on how motivating you can be, but you turned it down. Why is that?
I think there is a lot of people out there who would make a great presidents or just great politicians in all, like even whether it's a mayor or just whatever, a congressman. I think the situation is that if they're intelligent enough to really do the right job and really do the job right, they're also probably intelligent enough to make a lot of money and have already made an amazing life for themselves. So why would a self-made millionaire who has everything really take that job? Because he's really giving 8 years of his life to fight, bullets coming every which direction. Like, I have some respect for what Trump did because, he's got to fight off all these people. His job should be 100% improve the country, not 75% fight off everybody else and then 25% help the country. I feel like that's the problem, I think, today is that, the right people, and there's a lot of great people that I would love to see become president, or a lot of great people I like to see in politics. The country is just not really structured right anymore. I think it was designed by the founding fathers, and I think it's I think it got a little corrupted because the people who were taking these jobs, they're being able to be bought off. Like these politicians today, there's some good ones. I'm not saying they're all bad, but for both parties, for both sides, with enough money, all of a sudden, you got these lobbyists convincing you to, push something through. That's not why we all came to America. We came to America for a better quality of life, So I think that politics kind of it needs to be corrected. And as far as the really good people who would become president and could actually lead the world, well, the problem is they have a great life. So you're going to take a guy who's, say, 65 or 70 years old, looking at the last 10 years of his life, and you want him to give 8 of them? That's the hard part. The hard part is for myself, like, yeah, I would do an amazing job. You're right. I would do an amazing job because I have a really good moral compass, and I could actually feel for both, for both sides. But the problem is, it's like, do I want to really sacrifice these great years? I mean, I've built an extraordinary life, so I'm going to sacrifice my life. I mean, it's like, I'm not Jesus Christ here. I'm not going to die on the cross. That's really what these politicians, if they want to do right, that's really what they got to do.
You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, right?
Yeah, so, I mean, yeah, it's maybe if the country really needs me, and maybe it's something, I could see 2045, down the line.
2045 or what? 2040?
It's not something I'm really entertaining because I feel personally the sacrifice is tremendous these guys give. It's just a tremendous sacrifice, and
I know. Even if you look like the before and afters of like like a lot of the recent presidents, they just age. It's crazy. It's crazy. Let me ask you this. You hit on it. You hit on it, but I think it's something probably good to maybe end on. You said the only thing we should want is a better quality of life. What can you give advice to young entrepreneurs in that aspect?
Well, I think if you look at it from this angle, people, a lot of motivational people are like, you got to get up early, you got to work all weekend, you got to sacrifice. That's true. But if you're doing something you love, it's not really a sacrifice.
Simple, right?
And I think, look, I don't have an alarm clock. If I have a meeting with you and the meeting's at 9 a.m. and I sleep through it, I hate to say it, you're beat. That you could be offering me a $50 million deal. If I wasn't excited enough to wake up, then that wasn't a good deal. And I'll prove this to you. Christmas morning, when I was a kid, and I'm not saying everybody had Christmas, but for the people who celebrate Christmas, hey, Christmas morning at like 5 a.m., tell me you weren't waking your brother and sister up to run to see what Santa Claus left. That passion. There was never a Christmas in my life that I slept late. Like, you know what? I'm gonna sleep at 9 o'clock because Santa left the gifts. They're not moving. No, it doesn't happen that way. Listen, if you're not running as fast as you're running to go to that Christmas tree, well, then you know what? You're definitely not in the right field, no matter what. So tomorrow morning, when you guys wake up Monday morning you know, if you feel that you need an alarm clock, or if you feel that, you know, you're not really too excited to go wherever you're going, you're not in the right place.
You're not doing the
Whether
right
it's a
thing.
job, you're not doing the right thing. No, so that's what I really feel. I feel like, you know, quality of life is about doing what your heart desires, and that's what we should all want. We should all want a better quality of life. And whether it's like, you know, we're talking about politics, or we're talking about business or entrepreneurism, or whatever it is, you should be doing what you love. You shouldn't be wasting your time, you know, bickering over, you know, what side you're on. Who cares what side you're on? I'm on the happy side. I want to be around. I don't care who you are. I don't care what nationality. I don't care what
I'm on the happy side. Yes.
I want to be with a bunch of happy people.
Yes, that's amazing, Daymond.
Think about it. When you think of a good time, what do you think of? You think about being around a whole bunch of people who are smiling and having a good time.
Yeah.
You don't think about it. You don't think like, let's go have a really good time. I'm gonna go argue. I'm gonna go get my brother-in-law. I'm gonna go curse him out a couple times because I don't like his political views. No, that's not really a good time. It might be something you get passionate about, but it ain't a good time. A good time is, you know, you're at the pool party, fist pumping, jumping up and down with everybody smiling. That's a good time. You know, everybody has a definition of good time. Do what you love and make a great quality of life.
Yes, and we will end on that. Daymond, thank you so much for your time, man. We truly appreciate you.
It was a pleasure.
It was my pleasure as well, man. You know, we keep in touch. We're good buddies, and I just have to, you know, I have to make sure, is everything okay? Your family, all right? Everything all right out there?
Yeah, we've been pretty blessed. We're over here in New York. You know, I go to Manhattan like once a week. You know, everybody's healthy. So on my end, we've been very blessed. But it is rough out here. I mean, the businesses are all closed, and you know, people are really like sheltering in. So
we are living. We're living in stranger, weird times, and I guess for me, it's, if you're thinking about it, it's better now than never. It's time to do it. The time is now, right?
It's always a good time to have a good time.
Yes. And we will end on that. Daymond, thank you so much, brother.